All right, everybody. Saturday morning. Welcome. I'm Mike Gill, sitting out on the back porch. Got a lot to we want to kind of touch on. What I would first ask is anybody that is kind of watching along, if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Mike Gill Show. We're going to start doing a lot more on YouTube from our house and more thoughts there, sports media, food, beer, sports, pop culture, all that good stuff. Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers. Eagles this weekend. We're going to get into that. I got 3 matchups in this game. I gave my score yesterday, 31-20 Saints. So I'll tell you why I gave that score and what the matchups are that really bother me in this game. Phillies win last night over the Mets, and that clinches a playoff berth for the 3rd straight year. I do want to get in some Phillies talk with this team. You know, this is the 3rd straight year this team's in the playoffs, and you wonder, is this the last chance for this group to win a World Series? If you're watching, subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Mike Gill Show on YouTube. If you're watching, if you could hit the retweet, repost, whatever it's called, or the like button, you can click on the video. If you click on the video, you can ask a question or leave a comment, and we can put the comments up on the screen. Pretty easy. All you got to do is click on that, and it'll say something, and then you can ask your questions or that. If you don't want to ask questions, you just want to kind of listen along and, follow, great. But if you want to ask questions and you want to comment, say something, just click on the video if you're watching on the X platform. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can just comment in the comments section. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, and spread the word as we're going to do more video stuff here. All right. So let's go. And I want to get into Joel Embiid. Let me start with Joel Embiid real quick, since, we're in football season, baseball, but Joel Embiid signed this extension yesterday. So it kind of got lost in the sauce with everything that's happening. But Joel Embiid is the anti-NBA star. And I think we should appreciate that. Whether you like Embiid, don't like Embiid, think Embiid stinks, doesn't think Embiid's good enough, always comes up small, he's always hurt in the playoffs, all of those things, whatever your opinion of Embiid is, you're entitled. He hasn't been good enough in the playoffs. He hasn't been healthy in the playoffs, and those things are frustrating. But what he's been is the anti-NBA star. And what I mean by that is everybody kept wondering, when's he going to ask out? At what point does he finally say, I want to be traded? Like every other star. But what we saw about Joel Embiid is he's not a follower. He's not a sheep following the herd. Joel Embiid said, I want to stick it out in Philadelphia. And I know I haven't got it done, but let's do it here. I don't want to go play with another star someplace else. If the star wants to come play with me in Philadelphia. And Sixer fans, we should respect that. You can have your opinions of Joel. He has been injured too much. He has let people down because of the injuries, and it's not always his fault. But he is the anti-NBA star in a world where the transfer portal in college is letting kids just say, I don't want to play here. I'll go play there because I didn't play enough or this team's not good enough. So kudos to Joel Embiid for being a guy that says, you know what? I want to stick it out in a place that we haven't got it done and hasn't got it done since 1983. So kudos to Joel Embiid for that. It's a 3-year extension, so he's here for 5 more seasons. Guess what, everybody? Embrace him. When you have a player like Joel Embiid, embrace it. You don't get to watch a guy like this, whether he has won the championship and been the best guy. This is an MVP who does things that we've never seen for a man of that size. So embrace the fact that we have him here in Philadelphia and that he wants to stay here in Philadelphia. When it's so easy to get out and jump ship, Joel Embiid stayed, and I give him credit for that. All right, let's go to the Phillies last night. They win. Sanchez gives up the homer early, settles in, and then the offense explodes. This is the thing with the Phillies. Their offense is great one night, and then you wonder what night is it not going to be great. Is this the last run for this crew? The Harper, Turner, Real Muto, Schwarber, Castellanos, Stott, Bohm. Like, that crew is been together now for 3 runs. This is the 3rd straight playoff berth for this run, with Suarez and Wheeler and Nola all being a part of it. The difference with this team is the bullpen. The bullpen is different than the 2 teams previous. You know, in the first incarnation, when they went to the World Series, it was a Sir Anthony Dominguez, Jose Alvarado-led bullpen. Last year, it was a Jose Alvarado, Craig Kimbrell-led bullpen. Now, the bullpen is what's different about this team. The pitchers are the same, the starters, the offense is the same. But that bullpen is the difference. Will it be enough to be a difference maker in these playoffs? That, to me, is the biggest question. Is the bullpen improvement? And is it improved enough? Is the bullpen improved enough for us to think, hey, this is what's different? Because if you look and ask yourself, what's different about this Phillies team? Not a whole lot, right? Maybe Christopher Sanchez is better than he was in the last 2 runs of this thing. Maybe that's different. But other than that, what's different about this team? It's the bullpen. So keep that in mind as we take this journey again through Red October, which, we're excited about. We're excited to see if this team can be different. But to me, I keep looking, where's this team better? Where's this team different? And to me, it's the bullpen. That's what's different about this team. Now, is that good enough? We'll have to find out. You guys know that this will be the first time, most likely, that the Phillies are going to have to sit and wait a couple days. Is this kind of lineup the kind of lineup that can sit a couple days and then ratchet it up? You know, where the Phillies have been so good the last 2 years in these runs is they've been the wild card team, and they swept the Cardinals and they swept the Marlins. So they had 2 games under their belt and then rolled into the next series. They're not going to have that this time around. And the teams that are going to have that, Arizona, San Diego, Milwaukee, and the Mets, they're going to be playing baseball and you're not. Is that something that's going to do them in? Because this team, you only get 2 days to ratchet it up. And if you don't ratchet it up in those first 2 days, you're going home. But the big difference maker for them, hopefully, is if their offense isn't very good the first 2 days, hopefully Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, Suarez, and this bullpen are good enough. Let's think back to this video when we're watching those playoffs. You might have to win a 2-1 game, a 3-2 game, something like that. If you're not the wild card team, and this team's not going to be a wild card team, they're going to be 1 or 2, most likely. You're going to have to sit for a bunch of days, just like the Braves did the previous 2 seasons. Okay, week 3 in the NFL. What are we thinking? Eagles and Saints. Hate the matchup. I think this is a terrible matchup for this defense. I had 31-20 in the game. 31-20 was my score in the game, and I'll tell you a couple reasons why. Your defense right now is not a great matchup for this type of offense. They run the ball. Now, do the Eagles have the talent on defense to stop the run? Of course they do. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, those 2 guys were drafted high in the first round to be run stuffers. And Carter, to some extent, give you some pass rush. Jordan Davis has not been the player we hoped. Jalen Carter so far hasn't been the player we hoped. But after those 2, where are you getting your run support? Where is it coming from? It's not Josh Sweat. It's certainly not Bryce Huff. You're asking a 36-year-old Brandon Graham to help out against the run? I don't think so. Nakobe Dean, a little small to stop the run. Zach Bond had problems last week against a run scheme that's very similar to the one they're going to see on Sunday against the Saints. So to me, Kamara's a big problem in this one. That's problem number 1. Saints offensive line, Alvin Kamara's explosion in the run game, and their style of run is a big problem. Now, the way to combat it is have your first-round picks, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, blow up plays and make them have to do something different. The problem is, if they have to do something different, I think they have the advantage there too. Don't know the status on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He was listed as questionable on yesterday's injury report. Even if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson plays, let's see how this matches up. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. The Eagles just don't have the speed in the secondary to stay with Shaheed. I think you're asking Quinyon Mitchell to match up in that spot there. I think Mitchell's going to have to be the guy that matches up in the slot against Rashid Shaheed. And you take Shaheed as a guy who gets those seam routes. Can he run past Mitchell, or can Mitchell run with him? That's one there. If Chauncey Gardner-Johnson plays, you have him in the secondary trying to bracket with Olave there, and you would imagine Darius Slay. But Olave is another guy. He's a tough matchup. I mean, we talked about this yesterday on the radio show. He's a tough matchup for people because of the fact that, he's just so unassuming. He's such a great route runner, clean, crisp, great hands. I like Olave a lot. So they have a great complement of Olave and Shaheed with the speed. If the Eagles get into a situation where they can force them to pass, they've got to keep everything in front of them, because Shaheed will run right by you, and Olave will do some damage, in the middle of the field. Not a great tight end situation for the Saints. So, you're hoping that the linebackers don't get exploited too much, but I think that's been one of the problems. The linebackers in the first two games, we haven't really got a chance to see what they can do because they're getting beaten in the run game so bad. But, they've got and if Taysom Hill, he's a big part of their run game. He's questionable for the game. The other kid they have is Cedric Wilson and Tippin are the two guys there. So, look, I think the two big weapons are obviously Olave and Shaheed on the outside. If you can figure out a way to get matchups here, but I don't like the matchups in those situations. So that's two. I don't like the run game matchups with the offensive line unless your two tackles step up. Do we see more of Milton Williams? I like Milton Williams. I think Milton Williams should get more snaps. I think Milton Williams gives you more explosion and more athleticism on that defensive front. Is there another guy, Thomas Booker, the fourth? I thought he was the best player on the field during his 9 snaps last week. Can I get him more snaps? Can I find another guy who can be disruptive? The Eagles need interior push so that they can get their edge rushers a little bit more one-on-one opportunities. There's no interior push right now, so they don't have a lot of one-on-one opportunities. And the one-on-one opportunities they're getting, they are not winning. Nolan Smith, no pressure. Bryce Huff, no pressure. Those are big problems in this game. The other problem is I see it on offense without A.J. Brown, okay? Without A.J. Brown, it's a situation where are you going for the big play? Where are you going for the big play? I think this is a secondary, though. Tyrann Mathieu is a very, big playmaking guy. Marshawn Lattimore is a guy. Kool-Aid McKinstry they drafted as well. But I think they can get beat on the corners. I think you can go after their corners and their nickel spot and go after them there. The problem is you don't really have the personnel to do it. So Kellen Moore's going to have to get creative and move. It's like Devontae Smith is going to have to be a chess piece here. You're going to have to move him and to try to get matchups, and you got to somehow get Dotson involved. Dotson has to be a guy that gets involved and scares the defense. So far, he's been invisible. And so far, the first game, look, you have A.J. Brown. It's okay that he's invisible. But now with A.J. Brown out, you have to find a way to make him a part of this offense. And then that should open up some things for your Goddards. But I don't like this matchup at all. It's so weird how, you get into an NFL season and you have preconceived thoughts, and the Saints are not part of your preconceived thoughts, right? No one's thinking, man, this Saints team, that's going to be a tough. No, they just seem like a very mediocre. But these are the type of games over the years that seemingly have been problems. These teams that are unassuming, mediocre, and you're like, why are we struggling with this team? But I don't like the matchup personnel-wise. I think the Eagles have a lot of problems there. So those are a couple thoughts on the Eagles game. Again, if you're watching, thank you. If you are watching, if you can hit the repost, the like button. if you can go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe on YouTube, that would be fantastic. We would appreciate that as well. Maybe hit that bell so you get alerted when we go live on the YouTube channel. The more people that subscribe, the more we'll do. And look, it's just fun on a Saturday to get out here and just kind of chop it up a little bit, other than the 4-hour, show that we have to do during the week. This is a little bit more, informal. We can just kind of read off comments, and talk about, a lot of different things. The NFL this week, I do my Friday five decent games. I had 4 games that I really thought were like, okay, Ravens, Cowboys, I'll certainly be watching that game after Philadelphia and the Saints. Man, if Dallas loses that game, they go to 1-2. That would be interesting. But if Baltimore loses that game and goes to 0-3, wow, how about that? Crazy. This league, you know what's funny about this league? The league just gets here and it just starts moving, man. It is like a locomotive. You wait all year for it, and then here it comes, and it just smacks you, and it just starts moving. I mean, week 3, you got preconceived notions. It's funny. I'm already reading stories about trade deadline stuff, like guys who could be traded. It's just so unbelievable how fast and different every week makes you feel. Case in point, the Jets after 2 weeks, you're kind of like, maybe what happened to this Jets team? Jets are a team that I picked to win the East. Jets are a team that I think is a Super Bowl contender. Through 2 weeks, you start to say, I don't know what I was thinking. Then Monday night, now they're playing the Patriots, so I'm not going to go overboard, but I definitely think you saw signs from Aaron Rodgers that, hey, let me kick the rust off a little bit here. So I like what I saw from the Jets on Monday night, but I need to see more. But 3 weeks in, it's crazy how fast it comes and how fast things change. You guys agree? Or am I just crazy? Because to me, this season's moving. We're in week 4 of college football. I'm a West Virginia fan, and my team already feels out of it. 12-team expanded playoffs. My team feels way out of this. But I do think there's a lot of interesting storylines in college football. This new playoff thing will keep a lot of teams more involved. I watched Syracuse and Stanford last night, by the way. We gave that play for you on the show. Jeff Nadeau was on the show, and he gave us that play. So he took Stanford, and they were an outright winner last night. I got on board with him on that. So thank you, Jeff. If you watch the show or listen on Thursday nights at 5:30 is when Jeff joins us and really does a good job of giving us some plays and why and picks. You're not going to win them all, but if you hang out and watch, I think you're going to get a lot more information than just listening to random stuff. It's really informative, and it's like tonight. He likes Texas against Louisiana Monroe. Who's got information on that game? Probably nobody. So, by the way, he likes Texas in the game. There was one other one that he gave us on the show. I got to try to remember it. It was a total Michigan and USC. I think I got to go back to the tape and listen to that. There was one other. He gave us 4 plays on the show on Thursday. So again, we're going to try to do more of the live video stuff here, and it's much appreciated. I see some people watching, and I always appreciate that. It's funny on a Saturday, you're just kind of sitting outside, drinking the coffee here. There we go. We got the West Virginia mug still supporting, even though they let me down. And you have all these thoughts, and you're kind of like, all right, we'll fire them out there. And to have a few people here kind of getting involved and watching, we always appreciate that. But again, if you're watching and you can hit the like button, if you can repost and go to our YouTube channel and subscribe over there, that would be fantastic. That would be really cool that we can keep building that, because if you go to the YouTube channel, The Mike Gill Show, I do a lot of different beer reviews. For those of you who watch my Happy Hour Fridays or listen to my Happy Hour Friday shows, we have some beer reviews that are already up on the YouTube channel. We watch a lot of Netflix and Prime Video and Apple TV Plus, and we're going to talk about shows like that here on this YouTube channel. And, sometimes you're confined in the 4 hours that, there's just not enough time. I've done afternoons for essentially the entire time I've been in radio. I've worked that 2 to 6 shift. But sometimes in the morning, you have thoughts. Sometimes in the midday, you have thoughts. And a lot of times on the weekends, you have thoughts. So we're going to share those thoughts mornings, middays, weekends, whenever we're just kind of hanging out and some things pop in. What do you guys think about? We have a discussion. There's a guy who's been texting my show about Rob Thompson. What is everybody's opinion of Rob Thompson as the manager of the Phillies? I know there are people out there that just hate Rob Thompson and think that he's a huge problem. Now, do I think Rob is a tremendous tactical manager? Not necessarily. No, I think he makes mistakes. But why? We have to realize the why. Why do the Phillies and Rob Thompson do some of the things that they do? And if I think Rob Thompson is acting independently, then yes, I think Rob, if acting independently, sometimes could make better decisions. But a lot of people don't like Rob Thompson's moves, decisions. So I want to break a couple of those down while we have the opportunity. All right. So, one, guy texts me and says, you got to pinch hit for Stubbs in the ninth inning. These are games that have happened throughout the course of the year. Oh, he doesn't pinch hit in the ninth inning in that situation. I would say I agree. I don't like that decision. But that decision never comes up in the playoffs. So I'm not going to be critical of him as a manager, big picture, because that decision is not a playoff decision. You follow me on that one? Or do I, is that not fair? Hold on one sec. My power charger got disconnected. And if I don't plug it in, my computer's going to die. All right, we're back. So does that make sense? Do you guys follow that one? I would rather Rob hit for Stubbs in the ninth inning of a game. Now, there's a lot of questions. Why didn't he? How come? Do I think Rob Thompson thinks that Garrett Stubbs in the ninth inning of a close game gives them the best chance to win in that spot? No, I don't think Rob Thompson thinks that. I think Rob Thompson sometimes is understanding of, hey, listen, so-and-so might not be available to play today. He might be told ahead of time by somebody, hey, listen, Real Muto, not available today, not hitting. And I know fans have a hard time with that. How hard is it to swing the bat? We don't know what the reasoning is, but there's, a lot of times where teams have the medical staff involved in these decisions, and they say, so-and-so not available today. We had former team president Dave Sampson on our show, and he told us, look, when he was with the Marlins, we had sneaker days where we told our top stars, put your sneakers on. You're not playing today. You're not hitting. You're not pinch hitting. You're not running. You're not fielding. You're not playing. So I think there's an element to that part of the game that the fans just don't want to acknowledge, and then they blame the manager. I think that hitting for Stubbs in the ninth inning of a game in July is not a reason, or not hitting for Stubbs, I should say, is not a reason to not like the manager, because Stubbs will never be hitting in the ninth inning of a playoff game. That decision is not a playoff decision. So I'm not judging him on a decision that never will occur in a playoff game. A lot of people don't like the way sometimes he uses his bullpen, or how long he leaves pitchers there or pulls them from a game. We have to understand that a lot of times those decisions are made ahead of time. Who they're going to go to, why they're going to go to them, who's available, who's not available. I see people complain all the time. He pulled this pitcher and he brought this guy in. A lot of times that's decided ahead of a game, maybe. Hey, today, so-and-so is going to throw 70 pitches. And if he goes 70 pitches and that only gets us to the fifth inning, in the fifth, we're going to go here. If he goes 70 pitches and that gets us to the sixth inning, then we're going to go to this guy. There's a lot of elements to that I don't think the fans really want to acknowledge or aren't privy to. Look, I think what I like about Rob Thompson and why I think he's a great manager for this team is how even keeled and steady Eddie he is. I know a lot of people want the fiery guy, but I think what this team respects about Rob is his even keel, his steadiness, and they have a lot of trust. He has a lot of trust in his players. And I think that's what they like about him is it's 162 games. You can't grind us every single night. You just kind of let it play out. But the fans, I get it. You guys watch games like it's game 7 of the World Series every night, and you want the game managed like it's game 7 of the World Series. That's where I think our disconnect is, why I don't have a problem with Thompson, and I think a lot of people that don't like Thompson do. I think you guys watch a game, which is fair. I'm not being critical of the way you're watching the game. Everyone's allowed to watch games the way you want to watch a game. It's just not the way I watch a game. I don't watch a game in June and manage it in my head like it's game 7 of the World Series. I might say this is what I would do if it was game 7 of the World Series, but I also can step out of that and say it's not game 7 of the World Series, and therefore they're not managing the game like that. All right, we got about 2 minutes left until we wrap things up here. Again, I would ask everybody, first off, I want to thank everybody for watching. We have a nice little crowd of people in here on a Saturday morning. You might be watching coffee and you got a lot of things to do. For you to take the time to spend it with me, thank you. If you are watching, if you can hit the like button on Twitter or X or the repost button on the X platform, if you can go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to YouTube, The Mike Gill Show. And we'll do more of these Saturdays, mornings, and then, of course, don't forget every afternoon, the radio show on 97.3 ESPN from 2 to 6. You can catch me there. And one of the things we love about the radio show that we've really tried to create for an area is the insight and analysis from the guest. And because our guests are so much of a fabric of our show that they feel like almost co-host, and that you guys can listen to us kind of go back and forth and get information from the show. So we really do appreciate everybody watching. We're going to continue to give you guys more content and more stuff, and I hope you follow along. So do that on a Saturday. Check out your favorite games this weekend. Don't forget, Monday, I'll be live at Ocean Casino every Monday at the Fanatic Sportsbook, and I always invite you guys to come out, say hello, and we'll see you there. All right? Thanks again. Like, rate, review, subscribe, do whatever you have to do to find the Sports Bash wherever you might get it. Thanks so much.